The Toronto Blue Jays have won 2 straight games coming out of the All-Star break, and they seem to have found something at the plate. And I'm talking about their approaches in the batter's box. They have been phenomenal. They're getting into deep counts, and they're pushing these elite starters to the brink. The runs may not be there in bunches just yet, but this team is getting hot, and they're just around the corner towards a big run. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Gosse. Now, again, parts unknown for me. You will not know where I am at, but the Toronto Blue Jays are hot, and I had to be here. I had to find a way to sneak my way into this video. So shout out to you, Nick, for bearing with me and my schedule. And shout out to each and every one of you for all the support that we've gotten on our videos recently. It's been phenomenal. And the Toronto Blue Jays seem to have turned a corner here. The offense still not putting up a crazy amount of runs, but we're seeing some great at-bats out of these Blue Jays.
Yeah, they're putting up enough runs to win some games. And like you said, you guys' support's been unbelievable. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 7,500. And let's just get into this game. And the point of this video, which is the Jays have been on fire. And coming out of the All-Star break, the Arizona Diamondbacks are having a very, very good year. They're a very solid team. And the Jays were hot coming into the All-Star break. And coming out of it, you needed them to continue this momentum, especially with all the rest that our pitchers got. And today, Chris Bassitt had a spot start. He got the job done, and the Jays win their second in a row, improving their record very, very much so. And Peter, the Jays are rolling, and this could be a scary sign for other teams going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been waiting all year for this team to turn the corner. I'm not going to declare them all the way back just yet. We got to see it a little bit more consistently. But all year long, the calling card for this team has been the pitching, has been the bullpen, has been the starting rotation. And they've kept up that end of the bargain. They have been phenomenal coming out of the break here. And the offense finally gave them some breathing room. They won 7-2 last night, and they won 5-2 just today. And if not for that gaffe by the umpire, they probably would have won 5-0 today. And the offense has been having some great at-bats. They're getting into deep counts. Brandon Belt, for one. George Springer as well at the top of that lineup has been a catalyst for this Blue Jay team. And whatever I'm seeing out of them, I want them to keep it moving forward, because this has just been such a fun brand of baseball to watch. And we've been waiting, Nick. We have been waiting, and it seems that it has finally arrived in some sort of way.
Yeah, this is the Jays team we expected coming into the season. We saw for the first 25 or so games, and then for whatever reason, everything kind of fell off. And as bad as the Jays, at least a lot of Jays fans think the Blue Jays have been, their record's pretty solid right now, and they're starting to turn it around. And let's get into some of the highlights of today's game. And like you said, Peter, Brandon Belt had a phenomenal game. George Springer, solid game. Bo Bichette. George Springer obviously had the big double there in the early parts of the game. And just the offense, again, like you said, it's not exploding the way that it can. They're like an average offense team, stats-wise, but if the pitching has been so good for the Blue Jays that the offense doesn't need to be insane. They just need to put up 4 or 5 runs, every game or every other game, and they'll win way more than they were before. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. And huge shout out as well to Whit Merrifield, who has just been one of the best players for the Blue Jays this season, the hidden gem of the trade deadline when they got him a couple years ago, and just unbelievable out of him.
Yeah, now one big knock on the Blue Jays teams in the past has been that they've been all or nothing. It's been all offense, and they can't really rely on their pitching staff. The opposite has been true this season for the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, let's say they do start to hit more frequently. This is a type of win that you would get in the playoffs, a 5-2 win where you're pitching very well and you're getting those timely hits. They didn't have many hits today, but they had a lot of power strokes as well. A couple of home runs, couple of doubles, and just timely hits 1 through 9 for that lineup, hitting the ball hard. And I'd like to see some of that power creep back in if it comes at the cost of maybe a couple of base hits every now and then. But this is a playoff style team. You got to get into the playoffs first. That's a big issue that the Toronto Blue Jays are facing right now, although they are headed in the right direction. But these are the types of games that you're going to have to win, and these are the types of games that you're going to have to play game in, game out against those tough playoff matchups.
Yeah, and we've seen it, year in and year out, that pitching is really one of the most, if not the most important thing about winning playoff games. The bullpen and the defense as well, 2 of the things that Ross Atkins went out and addressed, and it's paying dividends. And if the offense can just catch up a little bit, it doesn't have to match the pitching, just catch up somewhere in between, we'll be really well off. And here is the great stat line from the entire Blue Jays staff today, and you mentioned it there, just a weird play with Brandon Belt at first base. If not for that, and I think the call was incorrect after the replay, but I'll digress there. Chris Bassett would have had even a better start. But Nate Pearson's been dominant. Eric Swanson's been dominant. Jimmy Garcia always a little bit shaky, but he's starting to, pick it back up. Pitching staff has been phenomenal all year. The bullpen's been phenomenal all year. I saw a stat, I don't know, since I think it was late May or something like that, the Blue Jays bullpen has been ranked number 1 in almost every stat. They've been unbelievable. We have Chad Green on the way. It's an exciting time to be a Blue Jays fan, and watching every single one of these games is, it's great and it's very fun, which is a change of pace from some of the other games earlier throughout the year, which were just really hard to watch.
They were borderline unwatchable in the first half of the season at times. Now, they were still getting results. They were still winning games. But that's not the brand of baseball that we want to be watching, at least not in the regular season. I don't care how you win in the playoffs. It doesn't matter. If you want to win those types of games in the playoffs, by all means, go ahead, and I'll be along for the ride. But you want to see a little bit of flair out of this team. You want to see them having fun, and that's what I saw out of them today. Bo Bichette hit that big home run, the dugout erupted. They went crazy in the dugout, and these guys are playing with smiles on their faces, something that we did not see in the first half. Now, it sounds like something that is very simple, just having fun while playing baseball, because we get caught up in the money that these guys make. We get caught up in, some of their attitudes, but at the end of the day, it's a game and you got to enjoy it. And it seems to me like these guys are having fun, which was not always the case in the first half, because you traded a couple of fun players in Teoscar Hernandez and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. So it's great to see these guys playing with smiles on their faces. That's something that I've always loved about this Blue Jays team, and it felt like it wasn't always the case in the first half, but they're coming along, and this has been a great couple of games coming out of the break here.
Yeah, and Dan Strowman mentioned on yesterday's broadcast that nothing makes the dugout more excited than when Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hits a home run, and obviously he didn't have one today, but the vibes are very, very good around the team, and that's something that, when the Blue Jays are rolling, they have so many players with personalities. You can name almost every single one of them, that when the Blue Jays are rolling, it's they're a team that's very scary, and they are just playing very good baseball right now. Their offense is rolling, good enough. The pitching has been, like I keep saying, just unbelievable all year, and if the Jays can keep this up, they're starting to separate themselves a little bit in that wild card race, and they just got to keep it going against these competitive teams. And specifically, let's not forget here, they need to take care of business against the AL East, because they've been doing this all year against everyone besides the AL East, which is a bit of a concern still, but win the games that are in front of you.
That's a great point that you're bringing up there, Nick. And we got a couple of tough series coming up here against the San Diego Padres and the Seattle Mariners. So the Padres, you'll get them at the Rogers Center. And then you go to Seattle for 3 games, which is never easy. And that was a nightmare trip that the Jays had to endure last season against the Mariners. So a couple of big series coming up here. You got to take care of business tomorrow against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Complete the sweep, show that ruthless ability that your team possesses, and keep it going forward.
Yeah, and hopefully Jordan Romano and Kevin Gausman, who are both dealing with injuries, can heal up, and because we need both of them going forward if we're going to make any sort of run. But that'll wrap up the video. The Jays are exciting. The team is rolling right now, and hopefully they can continue to do so. We'll see you guys tomorrow.